Hello students and welcome to the lecture. So students, as you can see here that basically in this lecture, we are going to start with the banking and financial abbreviations and that is going to be our part 1. Okay. Talking about this topic is an important topic from the competitive exams point of view. Okay. The questions are directly asked in the examination from this section. Alright. And their questions type could be varied from question to question. Like we could say, in such questions, some abbreviation or acronym would be given and they will ask you about the full form. In some types of question, might be they will ask you about the establishment year, okay, the place and what kind of work that particular organization do. All right. So there could be so many ways the question could be asked. And there is always a one chance. Either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. Okay. So that's why it's become important for us to learn about them in a proper manner so that whenever we have to face them in our examination, we could mark the answer properly. Okay. So in this lecture, we are going to talk about the banking and financial abbreviations. And at last, we will have the summary of all of them. Got it? But as usual, before starting them, there is a small disclaimer that is presented over here. The disclaimer is like the images used in a slide deck are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this deck and you have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathee@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images. After understanding this particular disclaimer, now let's come to the topic that we are going to see. So first we could see is the ADB. Talking about this, we could say the ADB stands out for the Asian Development Bank. Asian Development Bank is actually a regional development bank, okay, that established on 19th December 1966. Okay, this is headquartered in the Ortigas Center, located in the city of Mandaluyong, Metro Manila, Philippines. Okay, then we have ADR. ADR stands out for American Depository Receipt. It is a negotiable security that actually represents the security of non-US company that trades in the US financial markets. After this, we have AIDWA. The AIDWA actually stands out for All India's Democratic Women's Association, which is an independent, left-oriented women's organization committed to achieving the democracy, equality, and women's emancipation in every field. Now we have AITUC. The AITUC stands out for All India Trade Union Congress. It is one of the oldest trade union federation in India, and this is only the trade union federation that this is not politically affiliated to any political party, including the CPI Communist Party of India, which means it is non-political entity which is dedicated for trade and trade unions federations. Then we have AMFI. It stands out for Association of Mutual Funds in India, which is a nodal association of mutual funds across India. AMFI provides useful knowledge and insights regarding the mutual funds and investments. Then we have APEC. APEC stands out for Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. It is a forum for 21 Pacific Rim member countries promoting the free trade throughout the Asia Pacific region. It was established in 1989 and actually headquarters in Singapore. APL. APL stands out for Our Poverty Line. So basically there are two acronyms in a particular. The one is APL, the second one is BPL. The APL stands out for Our Poverty Line and the BPL stands out for Below Poverty Line. Okay, and they both are revolving around the poverty line concept. So what do we mean by this concept of poverty line? So basically the concept of poverty line stands out like there is a particular limit of monthly household income in urban areas and in rural areas. If some household is having the monthly income below this particular limit in you can say whether the urban area or the rural area, then they will be considered as the BPL, below poverty line. If they having the income above from that particular limit in any urban or rural area, then they will be considered as APL, above poverty line. It is a measure of persons who live above its nationally designated poverty threshold. People in urban areas meet higher monthly income minimums to be considered above the poverty line. The APM. APN stands out for Administered Pricing Mechanism. It is came into existence on 1977. APM actually was administered by the OCC, stands out for Oil Coordination Committee. It is under the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. ARC, Asset Reconstruction Company, which is an specialized financial institution, buys the NPAs, the non-performing assets or bad assets from the banks and financial institution, so that the later can clean up their balance. Okay. Moving ahead, we have the ASBA. The ASBA actually stands out for the applications supported by a blocked account. It is a process which is developed by the India's stock market regulator SEBI, which actually stands out for Security Exchange Board of India. It is for any company which is applying for the IPO. And IPO stands out for Initial Public Offering. Okay, it is like when for the first time the company is going to invite the capital from the public by listing their shares in the stock markets. Okay, then generally the IPO has been given. Initial public offerings. ASEAN. ASEAN stands out for the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. It is formed in 1967 by Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand, and that is to promote the political and economic cooperation and the regional stability. Then ASEM, Asia Europe Meeting, was established in 1996 as a forum for dialogue and cooperation between the Europe and Asia, aims to strengthen the relationship between the two continents of Europe and Asia. ASEM brings together the 53 partners, which bifurcation is like European Union, 30 European countries, out of which 28 are European Union member states. Another two ones are Norway and Switzerland. Thereafter, the 21 Asian countries and the ASEAN Secretariat, which means these countries. Okay, so these all are the part of ASEAN. Then we have the ASOCHAM. The ASOCHAM stands out for Associated Chambers of Commerce and Industries. It is actually initiated its endeavor of value creation for Indian industry in 1920, having in its fold more than 400 chambers and trade association. It's serving more than 4,50,000 members from all over India. Got it? ATM, automatic teller machine, which is an electronic telecommunication device, enables customers of financial institution to perform financial transactions like cash withdrawals, deposit, fund transfer, or obtaining the account information at any time and without the need for direct interaction with banking staff. BCBS stands for Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, which is actually a committee of banking supervisory authorities established by the central bank governors of group of 10 countries, and the exact year is 1974. BCAS BI, Banking Codes and Standards Board of India, which is an independent banking industry watchdog, protects the consumers of banking service in India. We have BIS, the Bank for International Settlements, which is an international financial institution owned by the central banks which foster the international monetary and financial cooperation and serves as a bank for central banks. BOB, Bank of Baroda, which is actually an Indian state-owned international banking and financial services company headquartered situated in Vadodara in Gujarat, having the corporate office in Mumbai. And remember, this particular organization has been set up by the royal household of Vadodara, on that time known as Baroda, in 1908. The BOE, Bill of Exchange, written order used primarily in international trade that binds one party to pay a fixed sum of money to another party on demand or at a predetermined date. A BOI, the Bank of India, commercial bank having the headquarters at Bandra Kurla Complex, Mumbai, founded in 1906. It has been government owned since nationalization in 1969. Then BOP, the balance of payment. It is actually a statement of all transaction made between the entities in one country and the rest of world over a definite period of time, maybe a quarter or a year or maybe half yearly. Then BOT stands out for build, operate, transfer, form of project financing wherein a private entity receives a concession from the private or public sector to do the finance, design, construct, own and operate a facility stated in the concession contract. Then we have the BR Act, known as the Banking Regulation Act, or in short also known as BRA. It's published to the country in 1949. It is a legislation in India that regulates all banking firms in country. The BCBS, the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, Committee of Banking Supervisory Authorities, got established by the central bank governors of group of 10 countries in 1974. Then we have the BSE. The BSE stands out for Bombay Stock Exchange, It is an Indian stock exchange located at Dalal Street, Mumbai. Got established in 1875, the BSE is Asia's first stock exchange and one of the oldest stock exchange in the world. Now we have the BSR. The BSR stands out for Basic Statistical Returns of Scheduled Commercial Banks. In India, it provides the data on different dimensions of deposits and credit of banking sector. The CA, full form is Chartered Accountants, were the first accountants to form a professional accounting body, initially established in Scotland in 1854. Later on, the chartered accountants got expanded and work in all fields of business and finance, including the audit, taxation, financial and general management. CAD, current account deficit. Measurement of a country's trade where the value of goods and services it imports exceeds the value of goods and services it exports. The CAG stands out for Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Authority, established by the Article 148 of the Indian Constitution, audits all receipts and expenditure of the Government of India and the state government, including those of bodies and authorities substantially financed by the government. CAR or CAR stands out for Capital Adequacy Ratio. It is a measure of bank's capital expressed as a percentage of a bank's risk-weighted credit exposures used to protect the depositors and promote the stability and efficiency of financial systems around the world. CARE, Credit Analysis and Research Limited. Established in the year of 1993, the company is having the 14 shareholders and deals with the advisory services, information credit routing, registered by SEBI as per the Securities and Exchange Board of India regulations in 1999. CASA, Current Account Savings Account. Okay, there are two forms. First is the current account, second one is saving accounts. These are actually operates like a normal bank account in which the funds may be utilized at any times because these are flexible and CASA having the lower interest. So that's why. The CBLO, Collateralized Borrowing and Lending Obligation, which is actually a money market institution, represents the obligation between a borrower and a lender as to the terms of conditions of a loan, at which the loan has been given, at which the loan has been received. The CBS, the Core Banking Solution, banking service provided by the group of network bank branches where the customers may access their bank account and perform the basic transaction from any of the member team branch offices. CCIL, Clearing Corporation of India Limited, set up in April 2001 to provide the guaranteed clearing and settlement functions for transactions in money, GSEC, foreign exchange and derivative markets. CCL, Cash Credit Limit, short-term cash loan to a company. Bank provides this type of funding, but only after the required security is given to secure the loan. CBD, the Caribbean Development Bank, is a financial institution helps the Caribbean nations to finance the social and economic programs in its member countries. CDBS, Committee of Direction on Banking Statistics in RBI, was constituted in to have the overall charge of the basic statistical returns with officials of different departments of Reserve Bank of India and of various bank as its member. The CDS, Credit default swap. Particular type of swap designed to transfer the credit exposures of income products between two or more parties. The SEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. Trade agreement between India and South Korea. The agreement got signed on August 7, 2009. The CGRA, Currency and Gold Revaluation Account. Unrealized gain loss in the value of gold and foreign exchange of Reserve Bank of India holds based on the movement in their value, which is not considered in the income account but taken as a balance sheet item. CIBIL, Credit Information Bureau Limited, India. It is a credit information company operating in India, maintains the credit files on 600 million individuals and 32 million businesses. TransUnion is one of 4 credit bureaus operating in India and part of TransUnion, which is actually an American multinational group. The CNP, a card not present transaction, is a payment card transaction made where the cardholder does not or cannot physically present the card for a merchant's visual examination at the time that an order is given and payment effected. Then we have the CPI. The CPI in actual stands out for the Consumer Price Index measures changes in price level of a market basket of consumers and goods services purchased by the household that are reflected in the CPI. Then we have CRAR, Capital Risk to Weighted Assets Ratio. Ratio of bank's capital to its risk. National regulators track a bank's CAR to ensure that it could absorb a reasonable amount of loss and complies with the statutory capital requirements. Then, Cyrillic. Reserve Bank of India set up a central repository of information on a large credits to collect, store and disseminate credit data to the lenders. CRISIL, Credit Rating Information Services of India Limited, global analytical company providing ratings, research and risk and policy advisory services. CRMD, the Credit Risk Management Department. It is in each bank responsible for planning and administering the credit risk management and conducting the credit risk measuring and monitoring. And such department regularly presents reports regarding its risk management situations to the MFHA. Okay. The CRR, Cash Reserve Ratio, a specified minimum fraction of total deposits of customer. Commercial bank have to hold as reserves either in cash or as deposits with the central bank. The CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility. Corporations' initiatives to assess and take responsibility for the company's effect on environmental and social well-being. The term generally applies to efforts that go beyond which may be required by the regulators or environmental protection groups. CTI, Country Threat Index, examines the volume of terrorist and rebel alerts, messaging, traffic, videos, photos, incident, and the number killed and injured in the country over the past 30 days, runs it through an algorithm to assess the country's its CTI. The DPG stands out for Deferred Payment Guarantee, issued by the bank at request of customer when he purchases goods or machineries from a creditor on terms of payment after some specific time, in lump sum or in installments. The DPN, Demand Promissory Note, legal instrument in which one party promises in writing to pay a determinate sum of money to other, either at a fixed or a determinable future time or on demand of pay under specific terms. DRAT, Debts Recovery Appellate Tribunal, Established under the Recovery of Debts Due to the Banks and Financial Institutions Act 1993, with a specific objective of providing the expeditious education and recovery of debts due to the banks and financial institutions. DRI. Differential rate of interest introduced in 1932. Being implemented by all Indian scheduled commercial banks, provide bank finance at a concessional rate of interest of 4% per annum to the weaker sections of the community for engaging in productive and gainful activities so that they could improve their economic conditions. DSCR stands out for Debt Service Coverage Ratio, measure of the cash flow available to pay current debt obligations. Ratio states net operating income as a multiple of debt obligations due to within 1 year, including interest, principal, sinking fund, and lease payments. All of these got included. DTA, Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement. Tax treaty signed between India and another country, any two or multiple countries, so that the taxpayer could avoid paying double taxes on their income earned from the source country as well as the residence country. The EADB, East African Development Bank, development finance institution with the objective of promoting development in the member countries of East African Community. European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. It is an international financial institution founded in 1991 as a multilateral developmental investment bank. EBRD uses investment as a tool to build the market economies. ECB, External Commercial Borrowing. Loans in India made by non-resident lenders in foreign currency to Indian borrowers. They are used widely in India to facilitate access to foreign money by Indian corporations, and the PSUs stands out for public sector undertakings. ECS, Electronic Clearing Services. Electronic clearing system facilitate the paperless credit debit transaction directly linked to your account and also provide for a faster method of effecting periodic and repetitive payments. EDI, Electronic Data Interchange. Concept of businesses communicating electronically certain information that was traditionally communicated on paper. The two classic examples of such information are purchase orders and invoices. EDF, Entrepreneurship Development Program, is a program which helps in developing the entrepreneur abilities, skills that are required to run a business successfully developed among the people through this program. EEFC, Exchange Earners Foreign Currency Account, is an account maintained in foreign currency with an authorized dealer, therefore a bank dealing in foreign exchange. All categories of foreign exchange earners such as individuals, companies, etc. who are resident in India. EFTPOS stands out for Electronic Funds Transfer at Point of Sale. Electronic payment system which is involving the electronic fund transfer based on the use of payment cards such as debit or credit cards at payment terminals located at points of sales. EIB, the European Investment Bank, is a European Union's non-profit long-term lending institution established in 1958 under the Treaty of Rome. Then we have the ELSS, Equity Linked Savings Scheme, is an open-ended equity mutual fund that does not just help you to save tax, also give you an opportunity to grow your money. Qualifies for tax exemptions under Section US 86 of Income Tax Act of India. EMI. It is an equity monthly installment defined by Investopedia as fixed payment account made by a borrower to a lender at a specific date each calendar month. The EPFO, Employees Provident Fund Organization. Organization tasked to assist the Central Board of Trustee, a statutory body formed by the Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1922. It is under the administrative control of the Ministry of Labour and the Employment in Government of India. EPOS, Electronic Point of Sale System. System where electronic tills are used to process customer transactions in retail outlet. Local EPOS systems usually connected to the central computer system so that the financial and inventory data can be exchanged between the store and head office, allowing automatic accounting and replenishment. EPS, Earnings Per Share. Portion of a company's profit allocated to each outstanding share of common stock. Earnings per share serves as an indicator of company's profitability. ESOP, Employee Stock Ownership Plan, is a qualified defined contribution employee benefit (EDISA) plan designed to invest primarily in the stocks of sponsoring employer. EXIM, Export-Import Bank of India, Premium Export Financing Institution in India, established in 1982 under the Export-Import Bank of India Act 1981. FCA, Foreign Currency Asset, most important component of RBI's exchange reserve is assets like US Treasury bills bought by the RBI using foreign currency. Then we have FCCB. A foreign currency convertible bond is a type of convertible bond issued in currency different than the issuer's domestic country. Convertible bond is a mix between a debt and equity instrument. FCNR, the foreign currency non-resident deposit, unique to India and primarily meant for non-resident Indian and persons of Indian origin who want to hold monetary deposits in their chosen foreign currency. FDI, foreign direct investment, investment made by a firm or individual in one country into business interests located in another country. Generally, FDI take place when an investor establishes the foreign business operations or acquires the foreign assets, including establishing ownership or controlling interest in a foreign company. FDI are distinguished from portfolio investment, in which the investor merely purchases equities of foreign-based companies, not directly make the investment. FEDI, Foreign Exchange Dealers Association of India, created in 1958, regulates the governing rules and determines the commissions and charges associated with the interbank foreign exchange business. FERA, the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. Legislation passed in India 1973 imposed strict regulations of certain kind of payment, dealings in foreign exchange, securities and transaction had an impact over the foreign exchange and import-export of country. FICCI, Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, is the Association of Business Organization in India, established in 1927 on the advice of Mahatma Gandhi by G.D. Varla and Pushpottam Das Tarkudas. It is actually the largest, oldest and apex business organization in India, non-government, non-profit organization. FII, Foreign Institutional Investment, investor investment fund registered in a country outside of one in which it is investing. Institutional investors more notably include hedge funds, insurance company, pension funds and mutual funds. FIMMD, the Fixed Income Money Market and Derivative Association of India, Association of Scheduled Commercial Banks, Public Financial Institutions, Primary Dealers and Insurance Company, incorporated as a company under Section 25 of Companies Act 1926 on May 4th, 1998. The FIMMDA is a voluntary market body for the bond, money and derivatives market. FINO, Financial Information Network and Operations Private Limited, provides technology and operation solutions to the financial institution, designs and implements the technology solutions such as systems, services and networks. FIPB, the Foreign Investment Promotion Board, is a national agency of Government of India with the remit to consider and recommend foreign direct investment which does not come under the automatic routes. Then FOB, Free on Board, is a trade term that indicates whether the seller or buyer is liable for goods that are damaged or destroyed during shipping. FOB shipping point or FOB origin means the buyer is at risk once the seller ships the good. FOB destination means the seller retains the risk of loss until the goods reach the buyer. FPI, the Foreign Portfolio Investment, is the entry of funds into a country where foreigners deposit money in a country's bank or make purchases in the country's stock and bonds, sometimes for speculation. FSLRC, Financial Sector Legislative Reforms Commission, is a body set up by the Government of India, Ministry of Finance, on 24th March 2011 to review and rewrite the legal institution architecture of the Indian financial sector. FTA, Free Trade Areas, regions in which a group of countries have signed a free trade agreement and invoke a little or no price control in form of tariffs or quotas between each other. FTA allow the agreeing nations to focus on their competitive advantage and to freely trade for the goods they make the experiments at making, increasing the efficiency and profitability of each country. GAR, General Anti-Avoidance Rule, is an anti-tax avoidance rule of India framed by the Department of Revenue under the Ministry of Finance. GDP, Gross Domestic Product, it is a monetary value of all the finished goods and services produced within a country's border in a specific time period. GDR, the Global Depository Receipt, is a bank certificate issued in more than one country or shares in a foreign company. Shares are held by the foreign branch of an international bank. GFT, Gross Fiscal Deficit, is excess of total expenditure including loans net of recovery over revenue receipt and non-debt capital receipts. GIRO, Government Internal Revenue Order Advisory Group, was constituted by RBI in October 2013 under the chairmanship of Professor Umesh Belur, Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, to implement a national gyro-based Indian bill payment system. GMS, Gold Monetization Scheme. Like a gold saving accounts, you would generally keep your gold without any security at home or store in bank lockers by paying a maintenance fee. But instead of that, you could keep your gold in any form in a gold monetization scheme account and earn interest as per the price of precious gold goes up. GST. It is an indirect tax levied in India on the sales of goods and services. It is divided into the 5 tax slabs for collection of tax like 0%, 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. GSTN is actually the GST portal. HDFC, Housing Development Financial Corporation India Limited. It is based in the Mumbai, Maharashtra. It is a financial service company. IADB, Inter-American Development Bank, largest source of development financing for Latin America and Caribbean, established in 1959. The IAS, Integrated Accounting System, software application standardize your procedures for recording transactions and dismantling financial information. IBBI, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India Limited. It is actually having the entities like insolvency professional agencies, insolvent professionals, and information utilities. Established on 1 October 2016. IBPS, the Institute of Banking Personnel Selection, known as the recruitment body that was started with an aim to encourage the recruitment placement of young graduates in public sector banks. IBRD, International Bank for Reconstruction Development, it actually work at the international level. ICAR, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, under the Department of Agriculture Research and Education, Ministry of Agriculture. ICICI, Industrial Credit Investment Corporation of India, which having the registered office in Vadodara, is also the banking and financial services. ICAR, Investment Information Credit Agency, is actually set up in 1991 by the joint venture of Moody's and India's Financial Banking Service Organization. It is listed in Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange in April 2007. IDBI stands for Industrial Development Bank of India. IDR, Indian Depository Receipt. ID, RBT, Institute for Development Research in Banking and Technology. Here we have finished the topic. Now the summary part. Organizations we have seen like ADB, AIDWA, AITUC, AMFI, RCM, BIS, BSE, CAC, EPFO, FICCI. Financial terms we have seen ADR, BOP, CAT, CRR, FDI, EMI, CSR, EFT, POS. Regulatory frameworks we have seen BRAC, DTA, FARA and DRAT. So here we have finished this topic. It is requested to all of you kindly revise all the facts and figures that we have discussed in this lecture and keep yourself ready for the next lecture. With this note, we are going to end this lecture and thank you.